You're right, actually. The thing that you're pointing out, friends being fatigued, slowly, people leaving the camp of Israel. What do you have to say about France? About them saying that we're going to accept Palestine? What do you have to say about that?
It's another attempt from France to whitewash its position. How? What kind of state are they talking about? Number one. Firstly, before that we talk about the state, what is the priority that we have now? The priority that we have now is to end the suffering of our starving brothers and sisters in Gaza who are dying because of hunger. These people don't have a minute or an hour to wait. And that should put us in a position of not having a minute or an hour to wait and work on ending what's happening to them, to the civilian population. Is that is that less important than recognizing a Palestinian state? No. The most important thing now is to stop a genocide. How do you stop a genocide? Firstly, recognizing that there is a genocide. Western countries are not recognizing that there's a genocide. Secondly, addressing the perpetrator who's committing a genocide. No one is saying that Israel's committing any crime, even with their forked tongues and constant deception. They're not saying Israel is responsible, stop it now. You know, the British Prime Minister came up the other day, people are starving to death because there's failure to allow aid in. Who's the cause of the failure? Who is not allowing aid to go in? Who's shooting people when they go and seek aid? Who are you trying to fool exactly? So this attempt from France and other Western countries is an attempt to whitewash the Israeli crimes and also save their position, protect themselves. Why? Number one, we're talking about establishments and countries that committed far worse crimes than Israel in their history. The British Empire killed millions. The French killed millions across the world. We're talking about the authorities and the countries at the time. Many Western countries, when in their colonial eras, they killed millions of people. So France used to kill 50 and 60,000 Algerians a day when they were occupying Algeria. Algeria, 1 million martyrs. It's a famous saying, the 1 million martyr nation, Algeria, before they expelled the French occupiers. So they share the same view with Israel, a colonialist mindset, a racist mindset. We view these people as below us, of other nations, whether they're Palestinian or other Arab nations or other Muslim nations or African nations or other black nations. They are below us. Let's not disregard the racist element and the supremacist element, because them not talking about it blatantly doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Otherwise, how on earth can they not recognize the suffering of the people? Why is their tone changing from one country to another? Now, I'm not saying this is the sole reason, but it's definitely part of the reason, them viewing themselves as superior. Then they're making this step, likewise with the UK, and now Canada stated that other countries too, you know, lots of them are talking about September, in a way to try and apply diplomatic pressure on Israel. Indeed, there's something happening there. However, that is without doubt due to the public pressure against them. If there was no public pressure, trust me, if there was no public pressure, if there was no uproar, and even if the scenes of genocide were on social media, they would have allowed Israel to get away with even more than this.
That's true.
The only reason that they are taking action is because their populations are applying pressure internally. If Israel was committing a genocide, starving the people to death, and no one was saying anything, and mainstream media ignores it anyway, No one would have done anything. That's why people need to remember that activism is effective, and at the end of the day, it can bring results.
The world saw missiles dropping into Tel Aviv. We had pictures coming all over from the world, and we saw a lot of things. And most of the people didn't care. So, what you're saying actually is true. Now, the world, you guys have come so far that now the world seems it doesn't care about Israel anymore.
No, it's not that they just don't care. They were celebrating.
Yep.
Do you see the shift? They're celebrating. Bomb, bomb Tel Aviv. That's a song
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
became a very famous song. Everyone commenting, great, more needs to be done. Celebrating and saying Iran finished the job. We need more. Israel went and killed the leaders of the resistance. They're hailed as martyrs to a level where Western leaders started to say, oh, you can't say rest in peace to a resistance leader. Do you see the shift? Gaza, just rightfully so, you know, in Arabic we call it al-harb al-kashifa, the all-revealing war. It revealed Western countries. It revealed Zionism. It revealed the fake Arab regimes. It revealed the fake scholars. It revealed the fake humanists. It revealed the fake women's rights activists when they were silent about Gaza. It revealed every fake individual on earth. Fake human rights talks, fake religious people. All of the fakery has been exposed to a level where now everything is clear. They pulled the rug from under Israel. Who imagined, can you imagine 2 years ago? No Gaza, no nothing. No war, no genocide. Iran decides to attack Israel. The whole world would be what? The Ayatollah regime and the Islamists, this and that. Now, people in the United States and Europe, thank you, Iran. God bless them. God bless anyone who attacks Israel. Thank you. Finish the job. We're ashamed of our countries. Some people tell me I'm ashamed to be American regularly because of their country's conduct abroad. So you're seeing a huge shift here. And that's not only in relation to Gaza, by the way, that's in relation to the decades of propaganda against the Muslim world and the dehumanization and the Islamophobia and the whole garbage propaganda that they've been spewing to justify their wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and WMDs and the 9/11 false flag and all of that garbage. Everything is collapsing. And the recovery from that, I tell you one thing, it's impossible. There is no recovery. The only thing they can do is damage limitation. And even with that, they're failing miserably. Why? Because it's coming every single day. Even with suppression attempts, even with shadow banning, even with all of that, we can still see everything on social media. So that's why I say that Zionism is dying and we're witnessing the collapse. And usually towards the collapse, every country or every empire will have the last huge strike. I'm not saying that we reach the end of it, by the way. We could see something uglier. That's a possibility. There's an absolute prospect that there might be something even worse than what we saw. But we are in that time. We are in that time of change. And that change is coming simultaneously with the demise of the American empire and the rise of a multipolar world.
Mahmoud bhai,
It's
explain this
not
to us.
necessarily.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to cut you off. Explain this to us.
No, sure.
How does Israel drag America into Iran? How does Israel do this?
Well, of course, there's the Zionist lobby inside of the United States. The Zionist lobby is a very strong lobby. in the United States and other European countries. Zionism as a movement is a Western tool, wearing the coat of Judaism, using the victimhood of World War II and the Holocaust, inflating all of that victimhood, relating any criticism of Israel to being anti-Jewish, to make their neo-colonialist entity over there bulletproof. You can't criticize it, you'll be anti-Jewish. You can't touch them because they were promised there. And we support them because they have a right to defend themselves, and people tried to kill them before, therefore you shouldn't touch them. So the Zionist lobby is very strong. But I think some people exaggerate the United States participation in what happened in Iran. Let me give you an example. The United States and Israel are one, they're interlinked. Israel has influence in the United States, but Israel is a tool of the United States, like it was a tool of Britain before. But the United States took that responsibility after the collapse of the British Empire. The participation of the United States with Israel against Iran came as a rescue rope. It didn't come as anything effective against Iran. Israel in Iran, the military successes, if you want to call that a military success of Israel in Iran, were targeting certain leading figures, targeting some of the nuclear sites, some of the military sites, and some of Iran's air defenses. Saying that, every military campaign is judged by if it achieved the military objectives or not. This is how we judge a military campaign. What were Israel's objectives? Take down Iran's nuclear program, take down Iran's missile capabilities, and also take down the establishment. They achieved none of that. When they achieved none of that, and when they saw that even with their surprise attack in Iran and the Mossad operatives and all of the strikes, they couldn't stop Iran from attacking Israel and increasing its attacks, they were looking for a way out. Why? Because if the war continued, that would be for the benefit of Iran. It wouldn't be for the benefit of Israel. Israel is tiny, Iran is huge. A street in Tehran is like a city in occupied Palestine, one street. A huge geographical difference. Secondly, Iran's strategic power is much more efficient than Israel's strategic power. Israel's strategic power, although that's slowly, by the way, starting to change with time, they're trying to adapt, is the Air Force. We saw most of the attacks happening by the Air Force, but also through sabotage. Internal operatives using drones, something to do with the air again, and having these targets. More expensive, and then of course the Air Force and the fighter jets. More expensive, time-consuming, risky. Iran's strategic arsenal, missiles. And Iran, there's a different Iran under the ground. There's an Iran over the ground. There's another Iran under the ground. And we are talking about a country, a huge country, an ancient country. A real country with a real history, unlike this pariah state with imposters of fake people creating a fake identity. Now you ask yourself one question, because it really comes down to this point. If Israel, with all of this power, with British intelligence support, with constant United States support, with other European countries supporting them, with arms, with intelligence, with expertise, with weapons, with money, with all of that, couldn't defeat the Palestinian resistance in Gaza and take down even 20%, according to them, by the way, of the tunnel systems in Gaza, how on earth are they going to be successful against Iran? Do you understand how much of a paper tiger they are? And do you understand how much of this perception of Israel is an illusion? Israel is nothing. Do you know what made Israel something? The weakness of the Arab authorities, the disbelief of those who call themselves scholars, and the brainwashing of the mainstream media and propaganda. That's what made them something. They are absolutely nothing. If the countries surrounding occupied Palestine just opened the borders, what would happen? One person said a long time ago, if every Arab person came and threw a bucket of water on occupied Palestine, they'll sink Israel.
Yeah.
They don't even have to militarily intervene. They don't have to go and leave the borders. Leave the borders. Let the people do what needs to be done. Liberate Palestine. So all of that is an illusion. And believe it or not, and I'm not. And by the way, when I analyze it, when I talk about this subject, I try and be as calculated as possible. Some people will tell you you need to only use your brain and not use your heart, for example. Although I believe everyone should have a heart when they talk about things like this, especially when they see the level of suffering and misery. But even if we just want to state the facts and without being too emotional or over optimistic or pessimistic or anything, if we look at the progress on the ground now, things aren't going well for Israel. They're trying to portray an image of strength. But the fact of the matter is, 2 years into a full-blown barbaric genocide with over 128,000 tons of TNT, over 6 times the equivalent of the nuclear bombs that landed in Hiroshima and Nagasaki on a civilian population concentrated, and they didn't raise the white flag. Japan surrendered in World War II. Germany surrendered to World War II, when if we want to calculate it based on a percentage, they didn't suffer 2% of what Gaza suffered.